Hey everybody, Mike DeSepoli. Welcome to Ask the Advisor 76. So this week we're going to talk about the North Korean summit. There's a lot going on in the news relative to this meeting right now. So we want to bring you up to speed. If you missed anything, we want to let you know what you missed and let you know how we think the investment markets may react moving forward. By now, I'm sure everybody is aware of what took place on Tuesday, June 12th. But if you've been living under a rock for the past few months, we got some information to bring you up to speed on. So we had a summit that was held in Singapore and China on Tuesday, June 12th. And the summit was between Kim Jong-un, the leader of North Korea, and President Donald Trump of the United States. So why the summit? How did we get here? And what can we expect moving forward? Well, if you remember back a few months ago, there was a lot of chatter back and forth between Trump, Kim Jong-un, and many people thought we were on a path to nuclear war, where they were threatening each other back and forth about who had the bigger nuclear arsenal, and that had a lot of people, particularly markets and investors, on the edge of their seats and a little bit unnerved. If you've heard me speak in the past, you know that one thing financial markets do not like is fear and uncertainty, and when you pair the two of them together, it's a pretty bad combination. But fast forward, Tuesday, June 12th, and both of these leaders met in Singapore. So why Singapore? Well, obviously China has a big vested interest in seeing peace in the Korean Peninsula, and as well as opening up North Korea and its borders to international commerce. So that site was seen as a good neutral location to host that meeting. The Japanese, the South Koreans, and all the other neighboring countries also have a very big vested interest in seeing the successful denuclearization of North Korea. So a lot of their delegates were present in the meeting as well. As we said, the meeting was held on Tuesday, June 12th, and some of the highlights that we got out of that meeting was a commitment to continue to try to normalize relationships between both countries, and North Korea has committed, which they did back on April 27, 2018, through a declaration, they've committed to work towards denuclearization. Now, they're not just going to give us that without something in return. So what could potentially North Korea want out of the deal? Well, the first thing we see as almost a guarantee is Kim Jong-un wants a guarantee that he can stay in power. You know, he looks at what happened to Saddam Hussein when they gave up their weapons of mass destruction, and then shortly thereafter he was taken out of power. So he sees his nuclear arsenal as his bargaining chip to keep himself in power. So if he can have certain guarantees about his reign of leadership, he might be a little bit easier to give up on the nuclear weapons. Second thing North Korea is going to be looking for is international investment, particularly from the United States. Right? So if we can denuclearize and open up their borders to international commerce, they would love to see American multinational companies and corporations move into North Korea. One of the company names that we've heard floated over the last week or so is McDonald's, right? Large multinational corporation all over the globe. North Korea would love to see companies like that set up shop in North Korea. Number one, it would be good for their individual consumers. It would give them new businesses to shop at, new places to try out. But also they see it as a guarantee of safety, because if United States businesses are opening and operating in North Korea, it reduces the likelihood that the U.S. would want to go to war with a country that it has U.S.-based businesses in. So that's another security guarantee that North Korea sees. But overall, the main goal here would be opening them up, open up their borders to international commerce, and improving the lives of the North Koreans, many of which are living with just abhorrent human rights violations under the current regime. So that's some of the things that they would look to get out of the deal. Obviously, the U.S.'s main goal is denuclearization, which would be a big win for the entire globe because it would move us further along the path towards global peace. Now, as far as the investment markets and their reaction to these things, as you've seen this play out over the last couple months, you've seen the market's reaction has changed a little bit. All right, when we went back in February and March, and the threats were flying back and forth between these two leaders, the stock market didn't like it. It became very unnerved. There was a lot of volatility in the marketplace, and we saw a lot of downward action. But as things progress and the market has gotten a little bit more used to what's going on and realizing that there's just a lot of jockeying for position going on, that nothing's being set in stone, that both parties are still at the bargaining table, the market has gotten a little bit more used to this and has acted pretty resilient through the face of a lot of the news here. Now, don't get me wrong, I think we're a long way away from a deal being reached for full denuclearization, but this was a good starting point. So what we can expect moving forward, I would expect more summits, more meetings, more communications, and probably still more gamesmanship, right? The U.S. putting out their message and positioning a certain way, then the North Korea putting out their own messaging and trying to position in another way. And that's very normal in these type of negotiations. But looking at the prospects of the meeting, everybody, global leaders, are very optimistic that we're moving in the right direction. Now again, it's really hard to trust North Korea. They could walk away from the table at any time. They could change their mind. Obviously, we know their leader is not very stable. So it really remains to be seen if they can keep marching this forward. But so far, the June 12th summit was a very good step in the right direction. Now, if we get down the line to some point where they actually do denuclearize, that could be a very bullish sign for investment markets, because you're taking one very large piece of fear and uncertainty, the risk of nuclear war, you're taking that out of the equation. And then take it a step further, you're opening up another country to international commerce, and their borders have been closed and they've been shut off from the rest of the world with the exception of China for a very, very long time. So there'll be additional opportunities for investment, trading partners. So there could be a lot of positives to come out of this, but we can't put the cart before the horse. We just really, at this time, we need to watch and see what happens. You should not be making any moves in your portfolio in anticipation of what you think may happen. That's a very dangerous game to play. This is why you need to have a sound strategy that's tied to your goals and your life, and not the news events that are going on out there. So please feel free to tag anybody in this video. If you're talking to people at barbecues, they have questions, they're not sure, what does this mean for the markets? How do we think stocks will react? Please feel free to tag them in the comments below. We always want to make sure all investors are well taken care of. If we give you the tools and information that you need, we think you can increase your return on life, not just your return on investments. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you back next week for episode 77.